Well, today marks the World Telecommunication and Information Society Day. And this day is celebrated annually on the 17th of May every year. And this has been happening since 1969. It raises awareness of the possibilities that the ICT sector can bring to societies and economies, as well as ways of bridging the digital divide. The International Telecommunication Union, it's an agency of the United Nations responsible for many matters related to information and communication technologies, calls on the public and private sectors to make pledges for universal connectivity and digital transformation in these countries through its Partner2Connect Digital Coalition. To talk about the significance of the day and the latest in the ICT sector, we are joined by the Communications and Digital Technologies Minister, Mondli Gungubele. Minister, good to have you. Thanks very much for joining us.
Good morning, Leanne, and good morning to your viewers. Thanks for the opportunity.
Absolutely.
And I'm happy to be part of the celebration of telecommunication, especially from the point of the dialogue and the convention signed in 1865, 17 May.
Yeah, all the way in Paris. I know that was when it was all signed then and it started. I mean, why do we celebrate Telecommunication Day? I mean, and when we talk about sort of World Telecommunication Day, perhaps maybe we can get a little bit of a definition, because from what it was then to what it is now, it's completely revolutionized.
Quite correct. I think the fundamental thing, Leanne, is that what is the value of communication? Critical to that value is that its ability to ensure clarity within society, whether between individuals or between nations of the world. Because the world leaders realize that one of the factors of war, determinants of war, is misunderstanding amongst nations. And the fact that, even if used to pure psychology, when there's low level of clarity, there is uncertainty and there's unpredictability. It either causes fear or it causes fight. In other words, you fight or flight. So clarity is key in ensuring harmony for human prosperity and so on. Leave alone the fact that the technology has evolved over years until now, led by ITU, which is the oldest UN specialized agency. The key word is where there's communication, where there's clarity, there's predictability. Human beings are able to unleash energy, plan for their future because of their minimum understanding of what is happening around themselves.
You know, one of the biggest challenges, of course, is the issue of connectivity, and we'll talk about it just in terms of South Africa right now, not necessarily on the continent overall. I mean, you know, it's very complex. It's a very demanding sector when you talk about connectivity because of the things and the way that things are changing and very, very quickly. And that digital divide, which I think is the problem here, the digital divide between countries is becoming wider and wider. I mean, when we look at least developed countries, LDCs, and the rest of the world, it really shows very little sign of narrowing. Why is this the case? Why can we not keep up with the rest of the world?
Well, maybe before I come to South Africa, it's important to say, because this is an international day, just to take from you, Liam, that in terms of our records, 46 countries are the least developed countries. 33 of those countries are in Africa. In that territory, only 1/3 is online, which indicates the problem we are worried about. Challenge we have, Leanne, is unless we, like we are trying to do now in South Africa, you roll out connectivity through all the programs of the SA Connect, which we are doing. We've been able, South Africa has actually put no less than 3.6 billion now, between now until 2025, to make sure that not later than next year, 80% of South Africans have access or not to call online. Of course, we could have done it earlier, but what counts now, they say it's never late for a man to man.
Minister, I mean, we are living in a very difficult time as South Africans. I mean, we know that with blackouts, it continues. I mean, the amount of, and one of the big things is that a lot of people rely on watching a program like Morning Live every single morning to kickstart their day, to see, how things are going. And I mean, we've noticed how many viewers, they tell us how many viewers we've lost because of the blackouts and load shedding and the fact that we don't have it. Besides that, so that's one angle of information that's gone for people. Another angle, mobile operators, they say they're scrambling to ensure that their networks stay up and running. And we see the connectivity problems struggling. I mean, connectivity at the moment is very difficult with the blackouts. So telecommunications say government regulations are also blocking potential solutions, such as sharing backup power infrastructure with their competitors, and they're lobbying authorities to help ease the pain. Are you aware of something like this?
Thank you, Leon. I've had discussions with the telecom companies, and they've shared with me the difficulties of keeping their towers in operation, the battery, the enhancing infrastructure to the battery, adding the batteries, and also dealing with the issues of security. Yeah. So load shedding has actually brought us into a lot of complications. One, the challenge they have to improve the infrastructure, battery cells, also ensuring that there's a security of those what we call of that infrastructure. So there's a lot of complications, but it doesn't change the fact that I think celebrating this day also sends a message that we must do everything to deal with load shedding, because if we do not deal with it, we undermine a very pool of human prosperity, which is like oxygen, which is communication.
Mm-hmm. And this is the reality, and we're denying so many people this oxygen, and that's what's happening, and I imagine is hampering our growth. I mean, even issues of 4G and 5G, and we know the world has this deadline to reach 6G by 2030, I think, and we're still struggling with 5G, even though your predecessor had given deadlines that we need to get to this 5G. Where are we with this, and do you think we'll get anywhere near 6G in 7 years' time?
We're not talking about 6G yet, it's about 5G yet. And let me say, if you know, my predecessor would have had a deadline for switch off last year. And then the department was taken to court, that more consultation would have been required. She acceded to that. As a result, by September, full information promotion of the intention to actually switch off or migrate was actually in the hands of people. At the same time, he also ensured that around December, a gazette goes out to all the telecoms, which I can comfortably say nearly almost all of them now are happy with the way consultation has taken place. But what is key is that we want to inform you, Liam, that at least 5 provinces now have migrated from analog. We are left with 4 provinces, which is KZN, Western Cape, Gauteng, and Limpopo, and Eastern Cape, sorry. So what we are busy now, having done registration in these 4 provinces. Installation is going on. No more than 80,000 installations needs to take place. We hope during the course of this month and the worst June to have finished, and we hope to be announcing the switch off date, if we're lucky, not later than the end of this month. So in other words, the progress is actually quite advanced in spite of the difficulties. Yeah. Because the deadlines were changed, so consultations are being actually finalized, with making sure that we don't go, we minimize going to court as great as possible.
Yeah. There's so much to touch on, and we've completely run out of time. But I know that also on the table, one of the big things is government proposals to shift from TV licensing to a device-independent tax or household levy within 5 years. And this is, of course, to unset the 2G and 3G by 2025. Neither of which will be uncontroversial. How is this process unfolding at the moment? If you can keep it quite quick, Minister, just to give us an update.
No, there's a deal now which the cabinet actually processed with regard to ensuring that, because all those interventions are an attempt to improve the revenue and the capacity of SABC in actually ensuring that those who actually use these gadgets, those who could access to this infrastructure do pay, and it's an attempt to improve methods of doing that. A number of those issues are on costly, and we wish they could be faster, but the bill was processed by the cabinet to deal with all those elements that tries to assist SABC to procure products without being barred by a lot of regulatory policies that are coming from PFMA and so on.
Minister, we're in news time, but there's just one last issue that we'd like to get to you. And of course, I'm sure you've seen it. It's a very big story, and it's something that came out last week. And of course, this is the issue of, it's very much so away from Telecommunications Day. But while we have you, may we ask you the issue around the US-Russia allegations? Now, at the time, you were the chair of the National Conventional Arms Control Committee when the alleged arms shipment to Russia took place. Our question to you is, did you or did you not approve any arms to Russia?
Well, let me say, I would have preferred Garco to deal with that, but as a matter of fact, I did assist South Africa because I'm still chairing NACA to say that in terms of my record, we've never done that. All what we did, we asked the United States officials that when that evidence is at their disposal, they must furnish South Africa. And I would like to go beyond that because the president has already announced an intention to investigate.
Okay. But according to you, you never ever okayed anything like that? It never happened, yes, is what you're saying? I
checked my record again in case I was sick. I'm comfortable. Yes.
Minister, let's leave it there. Thank you for talking to us. That's the Minister of Communications and Digital Technologies, Mondli Gungubele, speaking to us about World Telecommunication and Information Day.